The relationship between Darth Sidious and the ancient Sith Lords is a complex subject woven with philosophical discord, envy, and an evolving interpretation of Sith ideology. The ancient Sith Lords, legendary for their power and ambition, would have harbored disdain for Sidious not only because of his methods but also due to his deviation from their traditional values. This contempt, while hypothetical, finds its roots in their vastly different approaches to power, the Sith Code, and their treatment of the galaxy. Darth Sidious, also known as Emperor Palpatine, rose to power in an unprecedented manner. While the ancient Sith sought domination through overt conquest and martial prowess, Sidious used subterfuge and manipulation as his primary tools. He played the Republic and the Jedi against each other, orchestrating galactic conflicts that allowed him to consolidate power. The ancient Sith Lords, steeped in the tradition of direct confrontation and honor in battle, would have viewed this as cowardly. Their disdain would have stemmed from a belief that true strength is proven in the crucible of combat, not through political machinations or deceit. The Sith Code, a philosophical cornerstone of the Sith Order, also plays a critical role in understanding this divide. The ancient Sith lived by its tenets, seeking personal power, liberation from restriction, and the ultimate triumph of their will. Darth Sidious, while undoubtedly powerful, represented a departure from these ideals. He amassed power not just for himself but to control and suppress the galaxy, creating a stagnant empire rather than a dynamic realm of competition and evolution. To the ancient Sith, this could have seemed antithetical to their philosophy. Sidious sought to eliminate potential rivals and ensured no one could challenge his rule, whereas many ancient Sith embraced conflict as a means of growth. For them, strength arose from struggle, and the perpetual cycle of rivalry and betrayal was a necessary part of the Sith path. By striving to end that cycle, Sidious might have been seen as betraying the core principles of their order. The nature of Sidious's rule would have also fueled this animosity. The ancient Sith often ruled as warrior kings or tyrants, leading their forces into battle and personally embodying the might of their empires. Sidious, in contrast, governed from the shadows, using intermediaries and rarely revealing the full extent of his power. This detachment from the battlefield would likely have been perceived as a weakness or an insult to the traditions of the Sith. Figures like Naga Sadow and Exar Kun demonstrated their dominance through action and spectacle, rallying legions with their presence. Sidious's approach, where he manipulated pawns like Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin to enforce his will, might have seemed a betrayal of that hands-on leadership style. Sidious's treatment of the Sith legacy itself would have drawn ire from the ancient lords. He took great pains to erase historical records of the Sith, suppressing knowledge of their existence to strengthen his hold on power. This deliberate erasure of their history could be seen as an affront to their achievements and an act of profound disrespect. The ancient Sith, whose names and deeds were meant to echo through eternity, would have been outraged by his efforts to consign them to oblivion. It was not just their identities that Sidious suppressed. It was the philosophy and teachings they had fought to preserve. Furthermore, Sidious's creation of the Rule of Two, which he inherited from Darth Bane, would have been another contentious point. The ancient Sith thrived in an environment of open competition, where multiple Sith Lords vied for supremacy. This system, while chaotic, allowed for the strongest to rise through relentless conflict. The Rule of Two, designed to focus power in a single master-apprentice dynamic, eliminated this internal struggle. While Sidious refined and perfected this doctrine, using it to achieve unparalleled success, the ancient Sith might have viewed it as a dilution of their legacy. For them, the Rule of Two represented a narrowing of the Sith's potential, replacing their thriving culture with a restrictive and stagnant framework. The envy of Sidious's accomplishments would have further compounded their disdain. Despite their philosophical differences, the ancient Sith Lords could not deny that Sidious achieved what they never could: the complete annihilation of the Jedi Order and the establishment of Sith rule over the galaxy. His unparalleled cunning and foresight allowed him to manipulate galactic events with precision, something that few, if any, of the ancient Sith managed on such a scale. This would have created a complicated mixture of grudging respect and deep resentment. They might have despised him for outshining their achievements while using methods they abhorred. Another critical point of conflict lies in the way Sidious shaped the galaxy. The ancient Sith often sought to rule through the empowerment of the dark side, creating empires that reflected their personal grandeur and vision. Sidious, however, turned the galaxy into a grim and joyless realm under the iron grip of the Empire. To the ancient Sith, who reveled in their dominion and the indulgence of their power, Sidious's sterile and oppressive regime would have seemed a waste of potential. His obsession with maintaining control at all costs stifled the chaos and passion they believed were essential to the dark side's true expression. Finally, Sidious's ultimate fate would have reinforced their disdain. Despite his meticulous planning and vast power, he was ultimately defeated by the very apprentice he sought to control and the compassion of Luke Skywalker, a Jedi embodying the ideals Sidious tried to destroy. To the ancient Sith, this failure might have underscored the dangers of his methods. They might have argued that his reliance on manipulation and suppression left him vulnerable to the unpredictability of human emotion and loyalty. His inability to foresee his downfall could have been seen as a failure to fully grasp the dark side's essence, which they believed demanded both strength and an acceptance of chaos. In summary, the ancient Sith Lords would have despised Darth Sidious for his deviation from their traditions, his erasure of their legacy, and his transformation of the galaxy into a stagnant empire. Their contempt would have been rooted in a belief that he betrayed the core tenets of the Sith Code and in the envy of his unparalleled success. Sidious's reliance on manipulation and his ultimate failure would have only confirmed their disdain, leaving him as a figure both respected and reviled in the annals of Sith history. The disdain the ancient Sith Lords would have harbored for Darth Sidious is not solely rooted in philosophical differences or his methods, but also in the bitterness of unfulfilled ambition. Sidious achieved what the ancient Sith could only dream of. He brought the Jedi Order to the brink of extinction, established Sith dominion over the galaxy, and held absolute power for decades. This success, unparalleled in the annals of Sith history, would have been a source of envy and resentment among those who prided themselves on their own legacies. The ancient Sith were known for their immense ambition, yet they fell short of Sidious's ultimate triumph. Lords like Marka Ragnos, Naga Sadow, and Exar Kuan forged vast empires and wielded unimaginable power, but their conquests were fleeting. Each of their grand designs ultimately collapsed under the weight of internal strife, Jedi resistance, or external factors beyond their control. To see Sidious succeed where they had failed would have been a bitter pill to swallow, highlighting their own shortcomings in the face of his accomplishments. What makes Sidious's achievements even more galling is how he accomplished them. The ancient Sith built their empires through strength of arms, the rallying of dark-side followers, and the open defiance of the Jedi Order. They reveled in the chaos and bloodshed that came with their rise to power. Sidious, by contrast, operated with cunning and patience, subtly orchestrating the downfall of the Republic and the Jedi through decades of manipulation. To the ancient Sith, this might have seemed like a betrayal of the principles of strength and dominance they held dear. Yet, their disdain would have been underscored by an undeniable truth. Sidious's strategy succeeded where their bold and aggressive tactics had failed. The sheer scale of Sidious's success would have been a constant reminder of their own inadequacies. He not only dismantled the Jedi Order but did so in a way that rendered them powerless to resist. The execution of Order 66, a galaxy-wide purge that exterminated the Jedi in one calculated stroke, was a level of precision and foresight that the ancient Sith had never achieved. To those who waged centuries of war against the Jedi, only to see their efforts undone, Sidious's victory would have felt like a cruel twist of fate. The envy of his success would have mingled with anger at his methods, creating a complex web of resentment. Sidious's ability to maintain his rule over the galaxy would have further deepened this animosity. While the ancient Sith often ruled briefly before succumbing to betrayal or external opposition, Sidious sustained his empire for decades. He not only established the Sith as the galaxy's ultimate power, but also ensured its dominance through meticulous planning and the elimination of potential threats. His reign was a stark contrast to the fleeting empires of the ancient Sith, who often fell victim to the very chaos they embraced. For them, Sidious's prolonged success might have seemed both enviable and infuriating, a reminder that their approach had fundamental flaws. The final insult to the ancient Sith's pride would have been Sidious's claim to their legacy. By achieving what they could not, Sidious positioned himself as the culmination of their efforts, the Sith Lord who brought their ancient vision to fruition. Yet, in doing so, he subverted their ideals and rewrote the rules of what it meant to be Sith. His rule of two, inherited from Darth Bane, ensured that he operated in secrecy, systematically dismantling the galactic order without the grandeur or martial glory the ancient Sith craved. While they might have begrudgingly respected his success, they would have despised the notion that it was achieved at the expense of their traditions and the open embrace of dark-side conflict. Ultimately, the ancient Sith's disdain for Sidious would have been deeply rooted in their own unfulfilled dreams. He achieved everything they sought: total domination of the galaxy, the eradication of the Jedi, and the establishment of a lasting Sith legacy, but did so in ways that undermined their values and exposed their failures. Sidious's triumph would have served as a haunting reminder of their inadequacies, a monument to his cunning overshadowing their might. In this way, their contempt for him would have been as much a reflection of their envy as it was of their disapproval, making their disdain for him deeply personal and profoundly bitter.